Hello, my name is Robin. I was very much a Warrior Cats kid in middle school, and I'm in high school now, but, and I thought I'd grown out of the phase, but apparently I haven't, because I've gotten super obsessed with this game called ClanGen. So I got the idea from Nyoko Arts on YouTube, to draw year by year my clan and how they're growing and their story and stuff, and I thought it would just be like a fun exercise, a way to practice my art skills and storytelling skills. So posting this first video here to have like what the cats I started out with were. I probably could have gone on to year 1, but I wanted to start out and like just give the backstory and everything in this video. So the backstory I've come up with for this clan is, well, it stems from the original 5 clans living around the lake. And for a while, everything was fine, everyone was following the warrior code, it was normal. Ow, would you stop that? My cat just bit my elbow. Anyways, so yeah, they were all following the warrior code and it was fine. But then, as time went on, the warrior code started to get a little lost on the clan as a bunch of bad rulers were rising to power, promising change and reform, but never bringing it and just making it worse. And it was becoming like tyrannical and like a dictatorship, and the clans were becoming very quickly shells of their former selves. It went on for so long that really only the elders could remember a time before all of this was happening, but many of them feared speaking out and being punished or killed for it, and so very few of them did. With the exception of a ThunderClan retired queen named Crouchfern. Crouchfern's mate Gooseheart had died a while ago. She had one surviving son and his family, and so she didn't speak out too much, but she would tell the stories to the kittens. The parents of these kits, though, they were scared that their kits might hear these stories and try something, and they would get punished or killed even for speaking out about the tyrannical ways of the clan. There was one exception to this, however. There was a kitten, a little white with blue eyes kitten named Bittern Kit. She was deaf, or at least very hard of hearing, and so her family had kind of disowned her to an extent. They kept her alive, but they didn't want to really associate with her. And so she had a lot more freedom, I guess, than the other kits, but a lot of cats also didn't really want to associate with her, and so she spent most of her time with Crouchfern. And despite being hard of hearing, she still was able to learn about the stories and how the clans used to be and how they weren't always this way. They used to be pretty good and loving and little communities of cats instead of little bands that are held together by fear. As she grew up into an apprentice and later a warrior named Bitternbur, she met some friends at the gathering from other clans, and they were also, I guess, outcasts like her. One night, this all came to a head when Scorch Foot, Crouchfern's son, and his mate, Tallgorse, they were getting into an argument with the leader because the leader wanted to cast out one of their kits who had a deformity in her leg. The fight very rapidly escalated, and it ended up with the leader killing both Tallgorse and the kit Bristlekit. It was then that Bitternbur and Crouchfern knew that they had to escape. They couldn't live in the clans anymore, and they were easily able to convince Scorch Foot to take his other kit, a stun named Cougar Kit, with him, and the 4 of them all escaped beyond the lake that same night. However, Bitternbur couldn't leave her friends behind. She would never forgive herself if she did, because they could very easily become the next Bristlekit and Tallgorse because of how shunned they were by their clans. And so she went back and she one by one went to the other clans and convinced all of her friends to run away with her and her clanmates. The group trekked on and on for a long time, and they even ran into a rogue named Heron and his little sister Boulder, who had just lost their parents in a big accident, and they agreed to accept them into the group. For about half a moon, they were like nomads, kind of. They didn't really stay anywhere for longer than a few days, and they didn't really know where they were going or what they were doing. They just knew they had to get away from the clans. However, tragedy struck. An eagle went to take Cougar Kit, but just in time, Scorch Foot jumped right in the way, and it carried off him instead, and he was killed. But that very night, Bitternbur was visited by Scorch Foot in her dreams. He led her to this waterfall, and behind the waterfall was a cave. And once she went in and fell asleep, she was in StarClan, and they gave her her 9 lives. After getting her 9 lives, StarClan asked her what she wanted her new name to be and what she wanted her clan to be named. And after a moment of thought, she said that she wanted the name HopeClan, and so she was hailed as Hope Star. So then, after she returned, she broke the news to her now clanmates, and they readily accepted her and formed HopeClan. Now I'll just quickly go over all of the cats, starting with Hope Star. She was originally from ThunderClan, as I mentioned previously, and is very close with Crouchfern, who she considers like a mother figure. Despite being deaf and also altruistic, she's actually a very good fighter. I think she's going to be a very good leader and help her clan start off well. Next up is Tanglefeather, a former Shadow Clan warrior who was considered cursed by his old clanmates for having both heterochromia and blindness in his bluish-purple eye. He's incredibly intelligent and also very, very charismatic, and so he kind of makes up for Hope Star's awkwardness. He's also quite a bit experienced, and so he's going to be, I believe, a very good deputy for Hope Star. Next up is Mapleborough, who was a former RiverClan medicine cat. She was kind of not as popular in RiverClan because she had a mate named Splash Strike who actually gave Hope Star one of her lives. However, once this was found out, the leader killed her mate because he would have killed her as well, but since she was a medicine cat, she was kind of valuable, so. She also took a blind RiverClan kit named Sandy Kit from the nursery with her to save her life as well. Galesem was a former WindClan cat, and his mother was a kitty pet who was brought into the clan when he was just a kit. Despite both he and his mother Blinkmist being incredibly loyal warriors to WindClan, she ended up passing away from an illness that was left not properly treated because she was neglected for her roots by the medicine cat. Galesem did not hesitate at all when leaving to go with Bitternbur because he could not forgive WindClan no matter what. Blinkmist was actually another cat who gave Hope Star one of her lives. Next up is Deep Speckle, who was kind of in a similar situation to Mapleborough. He fell in love with a rogue, but the rogue was obviously killed by the clan and he was severely punished. Possibly because of this, he's now very strict and very loyal to the code to try and uphold it so that no unneeded death happens anymore. His mate Meadow, however, did give Hope Star one of her lives, so. Next are siblings Heron Whisker and Boulder Kit. Heron Whisker was still living with his parents and their younger litter when tragedy struck and their parents and the rest of their family were killed in a bad storm. Being so young and inexperienced, however, he couldn't really properly care for his sister, and her personality didn't really help either because she was very bossy and headstrong and independent. So when she went off on her own one day while he was trying to get food for them, he came back and she was gone, so he followed her scent. And there she was, happily playing with Cougar Kit and Sandy Kit. It was a little tense at first, but eventually Heron and Boulder really warmed up the clan cats, and they offered them to start traveling with them in their group, and they accepted. Heron Whisker is kind of young and stupid, but he really, really cares about Boulder Kit, and she's like the most important thing in the world to him, despite very frequently getting on his nerves. And finally, the last 3, Crouchfern, the old she-cat who started it all, along with her grandson Cougar Kit, who is very obsessive and loud, and despite almost being an apprentice, insists on having his grandmother's full attention at all times. And of course little Sandy Kit, who, despite being blind, still somehow manages to wreak havoc and cause mayhem everywhere she goes. That's it for the living cats, so let's move on to the deceased cats. There's only one right now. Scorch Foot was Cougar Kit's father and Tallgorse's mate, and as well as Crouchfern's son. He had many, many shortcomings and was by no means a perfect cat, but he really did truly care about his family and wanted the best for them. He still regrets not leaving earlier when Tallgorse and Bristlekit were still alive, so they could have enjoyed life along with him, but now they're all together in StarClan again. Despite his regrets, he still did not hesitate whatsoever to get his surviving son and mother out of the clans and into a much safer environment. On top of that, he died saving his son, and I think that despite everything, all of his shortcomings, all of his mistakes that he made, I think he was a really good cat, and I think he's taken on the role as HopeClan's spirit guide. Every time a cat dies, they will be guided up to StarClan by Scorch Foot. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. When I get through a year in-game, I'm recording all of the events and everything. I'll make another video with an updated clan list, and yeah. This is probably really cringy and really bad, but that's okay. This is probably gonna get like 2 views, and I'm absolutely okay with that. I don't need anybody I know in real life finding out I do this. So, thank you for watching. Subscribe, I guess, if you want to stay tuned for more of HopeClan. Yeah, see you later. Bye-bye.